I'm very pleased to talk to you today as the representative of a company which has the professional use of mobile radio communication in digitalization, Industry 4.0, and the IoT more or less anchored in its DNA. My name is Cole Suter, and I'm in charge of the international business here at INSYS icom. We're a medium-sized company with customers mostly in Europe, but increasingly worldwide. And what do we do? In basic terms, we supply data, but more about this later. Before we talk about INSYS icom, I would like to ask you a very general question. Why do we actually need mobile radio communication? In times like these, this question may seem redundant. After all, who can go without mobile and cellular communication when half the world is forced to work from home and get their latest news via social media? And of course you would be right. The expansion of mobile radio communication is the foundation on which digitalization is built. This digitalization is not an end in itself, nor is it a trend that flares up briefly and then disappears again. Digitalization is a must. Greater security of supply, better service quality, more efficient processes, and new business models are the driving forces behind this development. In industry, it is in times of crisis we often understand how important it is to be able to access machines and installations from a distance, to monitor their condition and to analyze risks in advance. It must also be possible to monitor supply chains seamlessly in order to avoid bottlenecks. And above all, we should be able to use our resources, be they money, time, or manpower, in the best possible way for our operations. Let's take a closer look at these aspects of digitalization on the basis of a few concrete examples. You can also regard these examples as inspiration to think about further applications based on mobile radio communication. It isn't always just the factory floor that can be turned into a smart production location. The control, automation, and monitoring of technical installations is also increasingly taking place well away from urban areas. For example, in the management of drinking water, wastewater, drainage, or flood protection. The power supply is usually less of a problem. A solar panel or a battery can be used if necessary, but an internet connection is the real difficulty here. Often, a broadband connection is not necessary, but after the discontinuation of analog and ISDN connections, there is no longer anything there to connect to. Data acquisition and alarm systems can only be set up there via a mobile radio communication network. Mobile radio communication is often called as such because it is used for mobile applications in a professional environment. There are countless examples of applications that depend on the internet nowadays. For example, the silos used in agriculture and building operations, or special construction vehicles for sewer renovation work. Operators can ensure that supplies are available in good time before stocks run out, and they can locate where their mobile stations are at any time, what they are doing, and how they are doing. And as an additional benefit, all the relevant data is immediately available in the system. No more handwritten lists or data carriers. You know how quickly a USB stick can be lost or overwritten, for example. Now this application here is actually one of our favorite projects as it encapsulates a lot of benefits of our devices for dynamic applications such as cranes. To prevent unexpected problems with the cranes, they are carefully monitored. Condition monitoring is the name of the concept that monitors the health of a system and indicates possible problems before they even occur. As far as possible, these are then rectified remotely, without a technician having to travel to the site and climb to lofty heights, only to find that he has the wrong spare part with him, or that the problem can be solved quite simply by means of software. This application goes one step further. The company modernized its business model very early on. In fact, the majority of cranes are no longer sold, but rented out. And as is the case with rented property, the owner would like to know how the renter is handling the equipment. Is it being operated properly, or is it overloaded? Is it being used at all? Could it have been passed on to other customers a long time ago? It's not just the utility companies that are happy, but I'm going to start with them for now. Dependent on weather conditions and with fluctuating production, renewable energy plants feed power into an electricity grid that was not designed for decentralized production. The conversion to a so-called smart grid requires that, dependent on the state of the grid, i.e. under or overload, the grid operator can ask the plant operators to reduce or increase the feed-in. Since these facilities have been built to generate a long-term return, the energy fed into the grid has to be paid for. While this has so far mainly been implemented by means of a more or less fixed feed-in tariff, more and more plants are being included in what is called direct marketing, which is often mandatory for larger installations. This means that the electricity is sold dynamically on an electricity exchange, in line with the market situation. Service providers, referred to as direct marketers, handle this complex task on behalf of the plant operators. And the plant operators themselves, often specialist service providers, always want to be sure that the facility is running efficiently and that faults are detected proactively. In the case of large installations, video surveillance is also used for security purposes. As you can see, 3 parties are interested in the plant data, but they are usually connected to the plant via different channels. This is usually via a central gateway. As customers are generally spread across Germany and Europe, reliable access via mobile radio communication is often essential. Many buildings, whether residential or commercial, absolutely need lightning or surge protection. These in turn can't afford to malfunction. Modern systems can detect and report whether they are still in working order or whether they have already been damaged by previous events and would therefore no longer provide protection against the next lightning strike or surge event. In order for these systems to be monitored centrally, for example by the building technology service provider, the electrical engineering company applies solutions for predictive maintenance. These were just a few examples of the application of digital networking of plants and machinery. Ultimately, there are many more ways in which the so-called Internet of Things, or IoT, can be used. New ideas are being added every day. Market researchers at Canalys estimate that in 2018 there were already 16.7 billion endpoints connected to the Internet. That's PCs, smartphones, machine control, sensors, and many others. By 2023, this number is expected to double to over 30 billion. And this is where we come in. We supply high-quality routers and gateways for industrial applications from development to production. Our consultative sales strategy and our broad landscape of IoT solution partners are really important to us. Our customers also appreciate our individual and flexible customer care during each project, as well as our highly professional support. From our Regensburg base of operations, we have been operating worldwide for almost 30 years and are proud of our Made in Germany quality and heritage. We enjoy being involved in IIoT or industrial IoT projects that are based on collecting and networking data from their various endpoints. With our intelligent and powerful hardware and software solutions, that's protocol converters, data loggers, edge computing, VPN, remote device maintenance, etc., machines, systems, and other devices can be accessed remotely and their operating data transmitted. Why is the collection and networking of data so important? The answer to this question is simple. We need the data. It is the analysis of this data which leads to new findings and growth. On the one hand, there is IT, an established concept, and then there is OT, which for many is a lesser known term. Operational technology is the technology used in installations and machines. That's PLC controls, sensors, operator terminals, drives, etc. Up until now, IT and OT have been more or less networked within the IT system. The machines and installations run continuously and produce data, most of which often goes uncollected and unused. On the IT level, in order to know how things are going within ERP and MES systems, it is necessary to work with assumptions or laboriously and manually acquired data. However, the two sides, IT and OT, are currently being merged more and more. This too is the IoT. Industry 4.0 also being a relevant buzzword here. Contrary to the old principle, think about what you want to know beforehand and only collect the data you need, When we launch IoT and digitalization projects, it usually makes sense to collect and analyze as much data as possible, especially if the additional expense is low. In the case of some data, we are often not even aware that it is interconnected. Keywords like big data, dark data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence come into play here. And now, on a personal note, when it comes to data analytics, you really need to work with specialists. Specialists in data analysis as well as specialists for your application. Nobody can do the latter better than you yourself. Algorithms don't replace domain knowledge, of course. In the end, the benefits come mainly from the following factors. Number one, process optimization, saving costs and increasing efficiency. Number two, new business models, that's competitive advantage and locational advantage. Three, increased profits, a basis for healthy growth. But how do you get involved in IoT, Industry 4.0, digitalization, and what do you need to do to get started? First of all, you usually need a gateway. Our gateways are modular and flexible, located in the machine or installation, and in addition to the IT security gate, the firewall, they also form the central point in the installation where all the relevant data from the installation comes together. This connects the installation to the outside world, in other words, the IT and the OT. You need software in the gateway to speak the languages of the individual machines, and you also need software in the gateway to process the data locally and then transfer it to the cloud or SCADA system. Ideally, this system offers users the flexibility to install software just as simply as they do on their PC or smartphone. In addition, you need solutions so that the system can be accessed everywhere but securely. Remote maintenance, for example, so that these devices can also be administered remotely. This is because, unlike the smartphone, the customer is not sitting in front of the device, but normally many hundreds of kilometers away. You will find these components at INSYS icom. You can see from the terms left and right, and from the many logos, the world of our customers is highly diverse. You have to be flexible. There is no single solution. Instead, there are many possible solutions. Which cloud system, whether it receives your data, and how it is processed depends on the individual application. Here too, there are various possible solutions. What added value do we generate with them? First of all, this is how you get the data from the IoT, i.e. from the controls, the machine, the system. Here we are talking about secure networking, including firewall, VPN, and so on. This also includes protocol converters, routers, gateways, and mobile communications, but also functions for edge computing based on this equipment. One point that is becoming increasingly important is closer networking along the value chain, in which suppliers and service providers are granted access to machines or specific data within the machine. This also includes the development of partner ecosystems that, for example, modularly extend existing applications or offer additional services based on data-based business models, all the way up to a platform system. The analysis of this data creates new insights. Data becomes information, and this information is used by companies to create new business models. Better services, more efficient processes. Examples of this are a wide range of as-a-service products, from simple intelligent customer service operations to compressed air as a service. More data means more knowledge about your own products, processes, and infrastructure. On this basis, processes can be optimized, product quality can be increased, and risks can be reduced. This, for example, leads to greater security of supply for energy companies and the water industry, which means that faults can be rectified more quickly and often even detected and avoided in advance. All these aspects of the IoT are supported by INSYS icom, with products, services, and consulting for our partners and customers. And all this with the highest security standards, not only, but also for critical infrastructure. Here you can see a selection of our reference customers who rely on our expertise, as well as a selection of our solution partners and system house partners. We are particularly valued by our customers because we offer 100% made in Germany. The development of our products, their production, and service are all based in Germany, and that has been the case for more than 27 years. Finally, I would like to summarize the benefits provided by INSYS ICOM. Our core expertise lie in OT, but of course with the experience and know-how in the connection to IT systems. Everything is available from a single source and carries that made in Germany reliability, especially with regard to our standards for data security and longevity of the devices themselves. A multi-protocol environment means mastering machine language is easy, but also in enabling a connection to cloud systems via MQTT or HTTPS, for example. Virtualization with Linux containers as the environment for third-party apps, able to run on our devices like an additional industrial PC. Solutions that are easy to implement and use. The key term is configuration instead of programming. Minimal training and sales requirements. Various industrial form factors and mounting options for the control cabinet. And of course, our industry expertise in mechanical engineering and energy management. Last but not least, our outstanding value for money, because in most applications our components replace several devices at once, for example in the control cabinet. So, thank you for your attention and interest. I've been Cole Suter and we are INSYS ICOM. You are welcome to contact me or us using the contact details provided. Please visit our website www.insys-icom.com for more information. Many thanks and goodbye.